Okay, hi, this is Steve Webster from Webster Solutions again. This is part 2 of the Medical Transcription Services Associate website. As promised, the work zone portion is the most important part of this video presentation. Again, this is part 2. Okay, from the My Work Zone navigation panel, we have the weekly log list, the template matrix, and so forth. So let's go ahead and start off with the weekly log list, which I've already clicked on. Basically, this is a shared spreadsheet, and it has 3 worksheets within it. It has a log, MT query report, and delivery alert, which is a very good concept. And we have a little note up here. It says update the log worksheet with the actual completed dates and times. And like most worksheets, you have some editing and file view formats, including a printer icon at the upper left. Okay, regarding the weekly job log, this is the concept. Once a week, you start off with a clean slate of assigning jobs. When that week is done, you archive it, clean the slate, and start all over again. So in this case, the account manager, in my mind, will be assigning each job into the system, minus some of the actual delivery dates and times. So in this case, we have an assigned date column and time, and the due date. The due date is that hard cutoff date when it's due back in the client's EMR system. As we scroll to the right, we have the assigned account manager column, the assigned MT, client name or the abbreviation thereof, batch ID, the job number, the job type. Job type could be a letter, patient list, a report, things like that. Okay, let's scroll over some more from left to right. We have a column for voice recorder name, MT goal time, and actual completion. So the concept here is simple. If there's a hard cutoff, we want to set a goal for the MT to get it done before that. In fact, allow enough time for a QA goal to be set. And in between here, those 2 columns, we have the actual completion by the MT. Now we want to think about performance reporting, gathering, analyzing our data. So this is why it's a good idea to capture these various date and time stamps. Okay, besides the QA goal column, we have 2 more columns, and that is the QA actual completion and the actual delivery time. In other words, we have the due date, and this is when it was actually delivered into the client's EMR system. Did we make it in time? Well, we can now do analysis on that. We could do analysis and performance tracking, which we'll get in later, about how well we're doing for a particular client. And there's a report date and time stamp up at the top, because it is possible to click on this printer icon to print out this information. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the delivery alert worksheet. Okay, within the same spreadsheet, we have a second worksheet. This is the delivery alert. I really like this. Basically, there's no data entry here. It looks at the log worksheet that we just looked at, and it proactively, in fact, here's a description at the top, a proactive exception report that scans the log worksheet for any uncompleted jobs that are within 4 hours of their due date. And the definition of a uncompleted job is on the log worksheet, the actual delivery column is blank. So in this case, we see underneath the status column a yellow alert and 2 red alerts. Basically, yellow is like a watch. In this case, where we see a job That's within 3 hours of being updated in the client's EMR system. Likewise, we have 2 warnings. One job with time remaining of 1 hour and 24 minutes and 59 seconds before it's due. And worse yet, we have a less than 1 hour. There's only about 25 minutes before it's due in the system. The purpose of this delivery alert is not to point fingers, not to yell at staff, but rather, thank the Lord, we have the ability to be proactive instead of reactive. Instead of doing damage control with our clients, we can prevent that. We could come in here and look to see, wow, we've got a few watches. Let's take care of them before they become warnings. Or if they are warnings, or whatever threshold that you want in your system can be set up here. Because the thought here is, wow, if I have some watches and warnings and it looks like things aren't going well, it's time to throw perhaps more resources at this at the job to get it done. So it's a team approach is what I'm trying to convey here. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the MT query report, which is a third worksheet within the weekly job log spreadsheet. Okay, here, the idea here is to enter some parameters that filters the data that's on the log worksheet, the first worksheet we looked at. So the instruction says select jobs from the weekly job log by entering any combination of parameters below. In the blue shaded area is where you enter your parameters. In this case, there's the MT name of Jane. It searches in the MT name column for any matches of J-A-N-E, lowercase or uppercase, and it returns the results in the form of a filter. There's nothing entered for the account manager or assigned date or client, but we do notice there's a further drill down filter for a certain batch ID, OSMC-8. So then what we see here is that list of jobs. The purpose of this is to give a tool to the MTs to say, hey, what jobs do I have to do? And what's nice about this, it is sorted on the due date. Because why in the world would we want to suggest to our MTs start doing a job that's not due for maybe another 10 hours when there's one due in maybe 2 hours or less? In fact, if I scroll over to the right, furthest right column, you'll see the same method in the delivery report. It tells them how much time's left to get the jobs done. So we have one yellow, in this case, 2 hours and 24 minutes left. And in fact, there's a couple late ones reported, which is bad. Okay? And that concludes this portion of the Medical Transcription Services Associates site. Part 3 will include where I'm going to show you in 4 clicks, we're going to use a template matrix to find that template and reduce your risk. And again, this is Steve Webster, and stay tuned for part 3.